And we have a youth choir. That's G-B-A-D, just so you know. This might go on. This might go on for 5 full minutes.
5 minutes.
Unless we pull the plug. I can pull the plug on it.
Who's gonna film it?
You're gonna pull the plug?
Yeah.
I can get in serious trouble for doing this. Ju pulls the plug on the Christian. No. Sorry, we shall return you to your former job soon. The whole town's up in arms now, you have to realize. I decided only in my senior year in college to become a conductor. When I went to Queens College, I was a pop pianist, and I had actually never heard classical music. I knew Messiah, Handel's Messiah, but I didn't know symphonies, concertos, operas, I didn't know. During the year, besides taking all the courses, we had to listen to opera and listen to these, these concertos and symphonies and art songs, and it just opened up a world to me. It's the job of a conductor to be true to the composer's intentions, but it's also the job to feel the music the way he or she feels it and to bring out certain things. But every piece has its own beauty and challenges, and a really good piece of music will allow a thoughtful conductor to see what's inside, to unravel the mysteries of the pieces. A really good piece will sort of speak for itself, but a conductor is needed to mold the singers, whether they're amateur or professional. This starts a little sooner. Exactly, except this has to go a little more curved, not straight up. Nice, nice. This is very hard to do. There have been studies when a child is unborn, if you play Mozart and you put a speaker on your belly, then they develop more. Their brains develop more than if they had not heard Mozart. There are also legitimate studies that show that if farmers pipe in classical music in the fields, the things grow better. Fewer and fewer teachers have had exposure to classical music in their youth. Starting 20 or 30 years ago, with budgetary problems or decisions, let's say, music and the arts are the first to go. So it's just a tragedy. I can only speak for me, because I haven't studied all this, I haven't compared. I can only speak for myself, and I'm just one person. I'm so deeply moved by great classical music that I can't imagine what it would have been like if Bach had never been born, for example. It's just, I am music. It's just in my genes, my soul, my cells. Every great composer gives me a different feeling when I listen. So at Queens College, in the spring of 1983, I was told that in the fall, I would have not only the choir, but the orchestra to conduct. So I decided to do the Brahms Requiem. The Brahms Requiem uses not the traditional Roman Catholic liturgy with all the Day of Wrath and all the drama, but rather a text which he chose from the Bible, various passages, where every one of the 7 movements ends with the concept of joy everlasting. And one of the movements of the Brahms Requiem, I have the score here, it's a soprano solo, and the soprano is representing the angel, and she's saying, don't worry, because one day you'll be with me in paradise. But it was during that movement that I saw a ray of light, and I saw a soul going to heaven. on that ray of light. I was the last person out of the theater because I was crying hysterically. I didn't know why I was crying. The next morning, I happened to be walking by the London office of the English-speaking union, and I walked in, and the man at the door said, "Oh, call home, call home." So I called home, and they said, my son was killed. He was walking on the beach with all his friends, Long Beach, Long Island. And there was a passing kite. And they all tried running after it. Just a passing kite out of nowhere. And apparently the string was, covering wire. So the moment he touched it, the top of the kite itself touched a 6-inch exposed power line. And he was executed on the spot. He's lying on the beach. I get home, I came home, and my ex-wife, with whom he lived in Long Beach, handed me this letter. This is a copy I have. And it's from Joshua. He says, "Dear Dad, I miss you a whole lot. I can't tell you how much. Dad, I have to talk to you about something I can't talk to anyone else about. Nobody would understand. It's about dying. It's not that I'm afraid. I believe that when you die, your soul goes to heaven. And when you go into the light, and you feel perfectly at ease and everything's beautiful. But I keep on having these strange thoughts that when I die, that's it. No soul, no heaven, no light. It gets me so terrified. I guess I'm afraid of dying. I end up crying. I try to convince myself that I have at least 80 more years, but nothing convinces me. I am sniffling at the very moment. Thank you, I love you, love Josh." So he knew he was going to die. How could he have known? But he knew. He went to my ex-wife all week saying, "Ma, look at my short lifeline. Josh, we'll cut it out already." And somehow I was able to go through and conduct the Brahms Requiem in the fall. I don't know how I got through it, but I did. And I'm living with it still. I watched my grandson for 2 nights last week, 2 weeks ago. And after he left, I had a good cry. It's just something you live with. My daughter is a high school choral teacher, and she loves so many different types of music. In high school, I started a folk singing club, and I had a group that I used to listen to Peter, Paul, and Mary, and I copied down the notes. I listened to the notes that Mary was singing and Peter, and I copied down all the music, and I taught it to my 2 friends, and we would perform. I love Peter, Paul, and Mary. I love Judy Collins. I love Joni Mitchell. If you want to be spiritually uplifted, you listen to Bach. If you want perfection and serenity, you listen to Haydn. If you want wonderment and perfection and upliftment, you listen to Mozart. Good music to me is what moves me. It's just that simple. If something moves me, it's good music.